Hey, what's up guys, it's Ivan, and in this video I want to show you the easiest way to set up Google Ads conversion tracking using Google Tag Manager. So let's get straight into it. So the first thing you guys have to do if you don't have a Google Tag Manager account is simply head over to tagmanager.google.com, and you might see a page that says sign up now, start now. Just click on that and you will land on a page that looks like this. So enter your account name, your country, your website name, and then select web over here. And then click on create. And then your Google tag will look something like this. So we have this tag set up for siteboosted.com, which is going to be this website that we'll be using for this video, which is an e-commerce site. And what you might see in your Google Tag Manager as soon as you create your account is a pop-up that looks like this. If you don't see this, then simply click on this little link at the top here that starts with GTM. And then this is the code that we need to add onto our website so that Google Tag Manager gets integrated with our site. So I'm using WordPress, so I'm going to install a plugin that's going to allow me to add code to the site. So I'm going to head over into plugins, click on add new plugin. If you are using anything other than WordPress, then simply add the code into the header and body section of your page, wherever that is. If you're not sure where that is, just contact support and they will help you find the area where you can add the code. In this case, with WordPress, we're going to install a plugin called WP Code. I already have it installed, so just click on install, click on activate, and then you should see it on the side here at the bottom under code snippets, and then we're going to click on header and footer. So let's grab the code. Let's come over here. Let's copy that. Come back here, paste this section in the header. We'll come back down here, copy this, paste that in the body, and then we're going to click on save changes. And that is it. So now we can come in here and test it. So let's copy the site URL. Let's come back here. Let's paste it, test it. And it might not show up for you if you haven't submitted the changes. So don't worry about that. But as long as you followed the steps that I showed you here, or if you're not using WordPress, if you added the code to the head and body section of your website, then this will work as well. So let's click on OK. And then you just want to submit changes so that the new tag that you installed gets successfully added to your website. So we'll click on submit. We'll give this a name. We'll say added GTM tag to site, and we'll click publish. And that's it. We can go back to our workspace and our Google Tag Manager is now ready and set up for us to start setting up the Google Ads conversion tracking. So now we're going to head on over into our Google Ads account. You're going to click on goals over here, click on summary under conversions right over there. And this is where we'll be creating some conversion goals. So for the purpose of this video, we will do 3 different conversion goals just so you get an idea of how this works. We're going to create the purchase conversion, the add to cart conversion, and a lead submit form conversion, okay? So this should give you a good idea of how to set this up using Google Tag Manager. So inside of Google Ads, we'll click on create conversion action. We're going to say website. We're going to enter our website domain. Let's come in here. Let's grab that, come down here, paste it, say scan. And then you might see additional options depending on your current integrations with Google Ads, but regardless of what options you see, just select add a conversion action manually. That's what we're going to be doing for all of these conversions here. So let's click on add a conversion manually, and we're just going to go from top to bottom. So let's start off with the purchase conversion. So we're going to select the category here. We'll say purchase. And then you can select this option here. You can choose whether you want this to be the primary action or secondary action. Now, this is actually important if you have multiple conversions. So if you're tracking purchases versus leads versus phone calls, for example, what do you want Google to optimize your account for? So for the most part, we want to optimize our account for purchases, right? The whole point of leads and phone calls and button clicks is to get purchases. That's the ultimate goal. So whatever your ultimate goal is, you want to select that as primary. Any secondary conversions, such as lead form submits or phone calls or certain button clicks, you want to set as secondary because you don't want Google to optimize primarily for that. You want Google to find you people that buy. But again, this does depend on the circumstance. If you are literally just collecting phone calls and you want to get as many phone calls as possible, then you would want your phone calls conversion to be primary action. If you are just concerned with generating leads and you don't care about sales, then you want your leads conversion to be the primary action. Does that make sense? So we're now going to scroll down. We're going to name this purchase, and let's just say site boosted, the name of our site. Of course, you can name it however you want to, as long as it has the purchase in there. So it's easier for you to identify. Next, we're going to scroll down and enter a value. Now, you could enter the same value. So if you have a static value that doesn't change, you can enter it here. You can select your currency and you can say, for example, each purchase is worth $50 for me. You could say enter a different value. So in this case, you would just enter a default in case the dynamic tracking values don't go through, in which case the default value will be shown. Now, in order to know how to add these dynamic values, I do have another video that shows you how to set this up if you're using WordPress. So make sure to check that video out so that your values will be dynamically updated depending on the products that people buy. And then you can choose the don't use a value for this conversion action option. So this is more so if you're tracking specific button clicks or phone calls or leads that don't have a specific monetary value attached to them, for example, then you can just say, hey, I just want to see how many of those I got, but there's no specific monetary value attached to them. Although I do recommend that you do have a value for each conversion, even if it's as simple as a lead submit, because you could go backwards and you can do the math. So if each sale is $100 and it takes you 10 leads to get one sale, then each lead for you is worth $10 in this example, 100 divided by 10, right? But if you don't know the values, you can just leave it at don't use a value. In our case, we will be using different values, so we're gonna leave it at 50. Next here, you have the count. So do you want to measure each conversion or just one? So in terms of purchases, if one person buys 10 products, do you want that to be considered as 10 conversions or just one? In our case, we do want every conversion because every purchase is important. Even if one person buys 10 products, we do want that to show up as 10 products, as opposed to, for example, leads. If one person signs up 10 times, you don't want to count that as 10 conversions because that's really just one person signing up 10 times, right? So that's what this is. So in our case, for purchases, we're going to say every. Now, next you have click-through conversion window. So this number dictates how many days do you want to give after somebody clicks on your ad before it's considered a conversion. So if the number here is 30 days, you have all of these options. You can set a custom number too. So let's suppose we go with 30 days. If somebody clicks on your ad today and then they buy 50 days later, that will not be considered a conversion because it passed the 30-day deadline here. So in this case, what you're saying is that, hey, anybody who purchases over 30 days, the success of that sale, right? Our success for this ad should not be attributed to the Google ad because so many days have passed that people most likely forgot about the ad. So the ad had nothing to do with the sale. So that's what this number is. As opposed to if somebody clicks on your ad now and buys in 5 days, well, most likely your ad had something to do with that sale. So this depends on the buyer cycle of your product. If you're selling big scale items like furniture that costs several $1,000s, then maybe you want to increase this number. If you're selling something as simple as a pencil that people could find out and then forget the next day, then you want to set the number a little bit lower. Make sense? Next, you have the view through conversion window. So this is the same thing as a click through, except when somebody sees your video and is engaged by it. So a video engagement is counted as somebody who sees at least 10 seconds of your video. So if somebody has seen at least 10 seconds of your video ad, how many days do you want to give them before a sale will not be considered a conversion? So if you say 3 days here and somebody sees your video and buys 4 days later, that will not be considered a conversion. Next, you have a view through conversion window. So again, same thing. How many days do you want to give to somebody after just seeing your ad before a conversion is counted? So in this case, it's just people seeing your ad, not clicking on it, not being engaged by your video, just an impression. So we're going to leave this at 1 day over here. Attribution model, the only two options you have here are data-driven and last click. They used to have all of these options. Now, the best one is indeed data-driven. What this means is that if you have many different ads, many different campaigns, if somebody has seen all of your ads before making a sale, do you want a conversion to be contributed to each of those ads? In this case, with data-driven, it will be. Or do you want only the very last ad to have the conversion be counted towards it? So in our case, we do want data-driven. That is indeed the best way to track conversions because it accurately gives credit to each of the ad and each of the sources that has resulted in a conversion for you. So we're going to leave this at data-driven. Enhanced conversions, this is a topic for another day. I cover this in much more detail in my brand new membership site that's coming out at ivanmana.com/all-courses. For the time being, we're just going to keep this on and I'm going to show you the automatic way to set this up inside of Google Tag Manager, but I'm not going to go into too much detail because this warrants a whole other video for it. We're going to stay focused on just conversion tracking. So with that done, we're going to click Done, and then we're going to click Save and Continue. And of course, you have some options here. You can set up the Google Tag manually. You can email instructions to your webmaster, or you can use Google Tag Manager, which is what we're going to be doing here, of course. So now we need to add this conversion ID and this purchase ID into our Google Tag Manager. So we're going to head back over into Google Tag Manager. We're going to click on tags. And what I'm going to do actually really quickly is let me open up the corresponding pages from our site. So the order confirmation page, the checkout page, so on and so forth, so that it's easier for us to set up these conversion tracking events using the URLs. So let me open those up real quick. All right, so I went ahead and opened up the add to cart page and the checkout page for our simplicity so we can get these events set up faster. So in Google Tag Manager, what we're gonna do, disregard all of these other events. They are for my Facebook ads tutorial video, which I have just recently created. Check that out if you're using Facebook ads and you want to know how to set up the Facebook ads pixel. But we're gonna click on new over here and let's give this a name. So we'll say Google Ads, we'll say purchase. We're going to click on tag configuration. We're going to select Google Ads and we're going to say Google Ads conversion tracking. Now, if you don't have the conversion linker, then it's going to prompt you to create one. So just do that. Click on create. You don't have to do anything else here. Just type in here Google Ads conversion linker. Simple as that. Click on save. And now we can start adding our IDs and labels. So now we need to add the ID and the conversion label. So let's hop on over into our account. Let's copy this ID. Let's come back and paste that. Let's come back into our Google Ads account and paste this specific ID for this specific event, okay? So this conversion ID is the ID for your entire Google Ads account. This number will not change. This number or this ID will change depending on the event that you set up. So we're going to come back here. We're going to paste that event here. Now for this conversion value, if you have a set value, you would just enter it here. Let's say $50. Currency code, let's say USD. Or if you have dynamically populated values, which is what I show in my previous video, you can simply add that here. So we're going to delete that. Oops. Let's delete that. Let's come in here and look for e-commerce value. We're going to enter the transaction ID here. Where is it? And then we're going to delete the currency code, and all of these values will now be dynamically updated. So if you're not sure how to do this, again, just check out that video where I show you how to set up these dynamic values if you are using WordPress. And then for the customer matching, we're going to click on include user provided data from your website. You might not see this option here, the user provided data, in which case you're just going to click on new variable over here, and then you're just going to give this a name. You're going to say user provided data and click on automatic collection. Okay. And that's just going to automatically pass through the email, the name, the phone number, depending on what values you have to Google Ads, so that in case the pixel tracking doesn't work, Google Ads is going to match the other information that you sent, such as the email, the phone number, and so on, with their database to give you more accurate conversion tracking. All right, so that's how this works. So in our case, discard changes. I already have this here, user provided data. And if you click here, and you click here again, you'll see that it's already set to automatic. So we're just going to leave that at that. And now we need to set the trigger, right? So on which page should people land on before a purchase is considered, before it's counted as a conversion? So I'm going to click over here. Again, if you check my previous video on dynamic values, you will see something like this automatically pre-populate, which just says purchase. However, if you don't, then you'll need to add a purchase page URL. So in our case, actually, we already have it thanks to the Facebook ads video that we've set up. So if we click over here, this is going to be the purchase. Now, to show you what that looks like, if you come over here, I simply selected page views, some page views, page URL contains, and then that's the URL of the page after somebody buys, okay? So here we are on the checkout page. So let's quickly place an order and let me show you what that URL is going to look like. So here we have this whole URL over here. Now, these values at the end here, the 1172, these ones will change depending on the order. So for this order, it's 1172. For the next order is going to be 1173 and so on. So what I did was I took this one here, checkout order received, and I used this as my purchase confirmation. And that's what we're using here for this trigger, which is called purchase. If you don't have that, again, you're just going to click here. You're going to select page view as the trigger. You're going to say page URL contains and then enter the URL of the page after your checkout page, which is the only page somebody will be able to land on when they successfully complete the purchase. Make sense? So everything looks good here. We're going to hit save. We're done with this one. Before we test, let's go ahead and just add the other events as well. And then we're just going to test everything all in one swoop. So we're done with this purchase event. Let's go back here. Let's add the add to cart event. Like I was saying, let's click on done. Let's click on create conversion action. Let's click on website. We're going to again enter our website name here. Let's say scan. Let's say add a conversion event, and we're just going to breeze through this because we already know what they mean. So we'll click on add to cart. Oh, I forgot for the conversion action. So because we want to optimize for the actual purchases, we don't want to optimize for add to carts. We're going to need to select secondary action in this case. Okay, so we're going to create this conversion event, and then we're going to go back and select secondary action for this one. Okay, so don't forget, keep that in your notes. So let's scroll down. Now for this one, there is no value. Add to carts don't have a value. And we're going to say just one. If somebody add to carts 10 times, we just want to count that as one, right? For one person. This enhanced CPC option has more so to do with the Google Ads bidding strategy, which I cover in my Google Ads tutorial in my new membership site. So don't worry about that for now. That has nothing to do with the tracking. So we're going to click on done, and then we're going to scroll down. We'll click on save and continue. And then once again, we're going to click on Google Tag Manager, and we're going to enter this new ID code over here. So let's come back in here. We'll say new. We're going to give this a name. Let's say Google Ads. Let's say add to cart. We're going to select the tag. We're going to select Google Ads conversion tracking. Now we're going to come back in here. We're going to copy this ID. We're going to copy the conversion label right there. And then we're going to leave everything else as is. We don't have a currency code. We don't have a value. Nobody has bought anything yet. We do need to set a trigger. So we're going to click over here. And I already have this add to cart trigger right over here, which is this page, this cart page, right? So when somebody lands on this page that has cart in it, then we want that to be counted as an add to cart event. Now, in your case, let's imagine you don't have that. Sorry, let's come over here. We're just going to click on plus over here. You're going to click here. You're going to click page view. Some page views, and you're going to say page URL contains, and then you would just say cart. Okay, and then you would hit save, and then you'd give this a name. You'd say add to cart, as we have over here, add to cart. Okay, so we already have that. We'll click on add to cart, and then we'll click on save. And there you go. Now we have the Google Ads conversion linker, the add to cart, and the purchase. Now, I completely forgot that this is an e-commerce site, so there is no lead generation form here, but you would follow through with the exact same process. So you would just click on new over here. You would add a Google Ads tag again, as we have done for the previous two events. You'd add the ID, you'd add the conversion label, you'd scroll down, and then you would enter the thank you URL page after somebody signs up. So it will be something like thank you sign up, right? Thank you lead submit, something like that. So you're going to click on here, page view, some page views. You're going to say page URL contains and whatever the thank you page is after somebody signs up. Thank you lead, something like that. And you're going to give this a name, lead submit, for example. You'll hit save. This is just an imaginary tag here. And then once again, you'd come in here and you'd enter the ID, the label, according to whatever Google Ads tells you. So you'll click on done, right? You'll click on create conversion action and just follow the same steps. Let me just quickly breeze through it and show you. So for this lead form, if we had one on here, you'd just come in here, you'd select either contact, or you can say sign up, or you can say, they have other ones here, submit lead form, for example, and then you'd give it a name. For the action, again, you'd say secondary after you post it. And then, yeah, you'd say don't use a value. You would say 1 here for the lead. And then you'd continue as we have done. That's it. Really, really simple. All right. And then what we want to do, let's not forget. So over here, you can see the action optimization set to primary. For the add to cart, we want to set that to secondary now, right? So we're going to click on this here, and we're just going to change it. Now we can edit settings. And for action optimization, we're going to now say secondary for this one. We'll click save. So again, this is very specific to us, right? If you do want Google Ads to optimize for add to carts, or let's suppose you are brand new and you don't have any sales yet, then you would want to optimize for the closest thing to sales, which is checkout or add to cart, okay? So we'll click on done over here, click back, and now it should say secondary. And that is it. That is how you guys set up conversion tracking for Google Ads with Google Tag Manager. Super, super simple. Once you set it up the first time, it just gets easier and easier as you go, because with Google Tag Manager, all the triggers, all the variables, everything is saved. So let's discard changes here. Now, what we do want to do is let's just quickly preview this, make sure it's working. So we're going to enter the site name. We'll click on connect. And before we save any changes, we do want to confirm that it's working. So let's add a product here. Let's add this product. Let's add it to cart. And now we'll click on view cart. And now let's go back into our debug view over here in Google Tag Manager and see if it has successfully triggered. So here we say Google Ads tag, add to cart, fired 1 time. And then let's come in here and complete the purchase and see if the purchase is going to fire along with these dynamic values that we've set up, which if you follow the other video, you will have as well. So we should see 24.50 over here and the currency being, I believe it's USD or Canadian. I don't remember what I set up for my store here, but let's come in here. So we have here the Google Ads purchase. And if we click on that, if we come in here to show more, you'll see the e-commerce value and the e-commerce currency has been passed through, but what are those numbers? We don't know that. So we're going to select the purchase over here. We're going to click on variables, and then we're going to scroll down to where it says currency, USD, and the value 24.50. So these are the values that will be passed through over to your Google Ads account right over here. And that is it. So congratulations, we have successfully set this up. So now let's head over here. Don't forget to save it. Let's submit the changes. And let's say added Google Ads purchase plus add to cart events, or you can say conversions. Let's say publish. Always write a description or write at least a headline so you know what the changes were that were made. As you can see here, we have the Facebook ads pixel changes, so on. You can always revert the changes and go back to where you were. So we'll come back here, and that is all. Hopefully that was helpful. If you guys found value in this and you want to learn more about tracking and marketing in general, if you guys head over to ivanmana.com/all-courses, I do have a brand new membership site that's coming out very soon. You can take a look at the video and you can just enter your name and email and you will be the first to know when it's out. I'm hoping it's out within just a few months. And what I showed you here in this video is part of the tracking and analytics module here. So there are 7 modules here in this membership site, and I cover all of this tracking and analytics in very thorough detail, as you could see in this video in this specific module. So that is all. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you in the next video.